The Likes Lines Powerboat Grand Prix was the scene in Durban where the best of Australia met with the cream of South Africa. This was the first true test between these two countries as the Australian team had their own boat shipped over for the competition, headed by current Australian champion Craig Bailey, who recently took his 5th national title. Another Australian, Robert Beasley, also came to test his skill in the lights class. The event also doubled as round 9 of the National Formula One Powerboat Championship. But let's get to the pits and meet some of the best powerboat pilots in the world.
The reason why we come, we've been number 1 in Australia for the last 2 years in a row and 5 championships we won there, so it was about time we come on and took Peter on over here again and the rest of the boys. They're all running really fast and looking forward to a great race this afternoon.
I retired from Formula One last year in Australia and young Robert has taken over. But in today's competition we'll run in a 25-lap marathon. Robert will drive first and I'll climb in. If I can do 2 or 3 laps, I'll be the happiest boy in the world.
It's a dream come true for me to race somewhere else other than Australia in my own country. It's fantastic.
George Fisher teamed up with Australian Formula One runner-up Mark Evans.
Well, I'm confident. The only problem or decision we have to make now is a propeller decision. I want to use one propeller, my teammate wants to use another propeller, so maybe we'll just toss a coin for that.
It's difficult to sort our national side, the South African national side, from the international side because some of them are racing together in one boat. So it's a lot of team tactics. It's a psychological breakdown for today so that we can climb in and do the full international, which is South Africa against the Australians and the British tomorrow.
The difference in speeds between the 3 of us is minimal, so if you can get into the front and you can drive with your head and not make a mistake, you should be able to hang on. So I think qualifying is going to be critical. It's going to be very interesting to see the run to the first turn, to see, because I think you'll probably find with Ian and I sharing, I think Ian will start the race, and I think that my gut feel after watching everything is that Ian will probably get off the line before Craig, but I think Craig might pass him by the time they get up to the top buoy. The terminal speed of Craig's boat is much higher than ours, but his acceleration is not as good, so it's a bit of a tosser.
The Beasleys look pretty fast. I think they've been sort of holding their cards close to their chest. They did quite a few slow laps, but they put in 2 blistering laps, and we did notice it. So they're pretty quick. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Officials did the last scrutineering checks before it was time to get to the water for the first grueling race of 25 laps with compulsory pit stops and driver changes. The start of the 25-lap race, and after setting the fastest time during the time trials, teammates Peter Lindenberg and Ian Mather, the current South African champions, secured pole position. Ian, who raced the first leg, got off to a great start and beat the pack to the first turn buoy, with Australian champion Craig Bailey close in his wake, ready for any mistake or judgment error. The National Ports Authority team seemed serious with their racing as the number 10 boat of Lucky Hadebe looked very promising in 3rd position behind Bailey. But equally impressive was the yellow boat number 23 of Russell Chard, under the colours of Team Reclam Higher Anything, who kept his grid position and was lying 4th. Also in the field was Gerald Beach in his debut Formula One race, who was still a bit sore after a Formula 3 race accident.
What we've done is we foamed the chair out with 100 mil high density foam, so that actually helped me quite a bit. And yeah, no, the back was fine, just a lot of cramp.
The blue and white Team Likes Lines boat of Craig Bailey shoots down the straight in pursuit of Ian Mather, who had a few more laps to complete before changing seats with Peter Lindenberg, who's been watching the race from the pits. George Fisher in the Team KZN Oil's number 6 boat raced the first rounds before handing over to co-driver, Australia's 2nd best pilot, Mark Evans. But it was Lindenberg who took over first from Mather, now leading the field quite comfortably. On lap 9, George Fisher also came in for the driver's change.
Peter and Ian just had the legs on us, so the best we could have hoped for was 2nd place, and that's what we achieved. So Mark from Australia, he did a bloody fine job, and yeah, we're very happy. Look forward to tomorrow. In the lights class, lap 10 saw the Beasleys change over. It was run out with Robert to finish the race.
Oh, crikey, talk about rough. A lot rougher than home. Unbelievable out there. But the old boat kept going. So when I came in, Bob gave me a call on the radios and said next lap in. So I had no idea of what lap I was on. I was waiting for him to tell me.
Towards the end of the race, I just kept trying to back off a little bit, just trying to conserve things, just get it home. And it finished. I mean, we can't ask for anything more than that.
Durban had his with his visor. Marius Krause from Team Tyre Force Quickweld had more problems than just a lost pickle to contend with.
It's a pity that my starter packed up before the race, and by the time I was putting on my engine cover, Pete and the rest of the guys were coming past me, and I still had to start from the docks when they came past. I really pushed the boat to its limit, and thankfully I ended up in 4th place, and I was really looking forward to a great result.
But for the Australians, it was also not plain sailing, and Craig Bailey picked up technical problems.
I had to start from pretty well down in the grid there. I started from about 3rd last, I think, but got up to 2nd straight away in the 1st lap. So Ian got a little bit of a break on me, and then I started wheeling back in. And once we got in the traffic, I got closer and closer to him. So just there, when the boat stopped, though, we lost fuel pressure. So we've got to find out why we've lost fuel pressure now.
Is there something you can fix?
I'm sure we'll be on the grid tomorrow and hopefully open up that can of whip ass we bought with us from Australia. So we'll see how we go.
Lap 15 and Mark Evans kept the Australian flag flying in the number 6 KZN Oils boat in 2nd position behind Peter Lindenberg. Disaster struck the South Africans again when the Lights boat of Russell Chard also bailed out of the race. This leaves the field open, and out front Peter Lindenberg also knows that it's equally important to preserve the boat for the rest of the remaining heats. But his lead was great enough to ensure a very comfortable victory for his team.
I had a very, very good start, and I just thought I had to go out there, maintain the lead and get as far as front of Bailey as I could, and it seemed to pay off.
Yeah, we had no hiccups on the changeover. Just like kept my head cool and got out as quick as I could without making a mistake. And then I hammered it for the first 3 laps, and then I saw that, you know, all we had to do was keep going. No one was going to catch us unless I made a mistake. And I just kind of kept the pressure on enough to win, and not too much to put too much load on the boat, because the boat's still going to be there for 3 heats tomorrow.
The first victory then to South Africa, a good start for a tough event.
We had a very good start. A lot of the guys really climbed out of the holes very quickly. Russell on the light side was doing extremely well. I mean, he flew past some of the Formula 1 boats, and he runs the lights class. Unfortunately, as I said earlier on, you know, there were little problems crop up, and Russell didn't finish, but I'm very happy with the result anyway. South Africans won.
With the support of the National Ports Authority show stars and the magnificent fly past by the nationwide Boeing 737, it added to the excitement and festivities at the Durban Port Festival. At the start of the first 15-lap heat, it was again the National Ports Authority team Lindenberg and Mather who took 1st and 2nd position. Shortly behind them, Craig Bailey sorted out his problems and was pushing hard to get past Mather. But round the buoy, it looks like there was some contact between Craig and another boat as he shoots wide, leaving an opportunity for the leaders to pull away from him. Tim Featherstone-Hall also seems to be rid of his problems as he takes 3rd position with George Verscheer, Lucky Herdebe and Marius Krause all in close proximity. But another drama was unfolding while the front of the race was pulling away. Skulk van Tonde in his Core Networks boat hit something in the water and his boat was sinking fast. This led to the red flag being put out and the race stopped to allow the rescue teams to assist with the emergency. While this was happening, another competitor, the number 5 Tyre Force Quickweld boat of Marius Krause, started sinking. This must have had something to do with what happened on the first corner of the race.
I was on the outside of Timmy, and our rules that we go up to and around the buoy, so I kept to his outside and noticed he skipped out, and I thought, all right, I'm not going to go into the back of him. So I kept on his outside, and next thing I know, I hear a big bang on the side, and I see Craig Bailey, unfortunately, to my side, and I was on his sponson. And we carried on with the race, and next thing I know, I had a hole in the boat. I don't know if water pressure did the rest of the damage, but boat sank and looks like we're out for the rest of the weekend again.
This forced another restart of Heat 1. Immediately, Lindenberg was out in front again, followed by Ian Mather. And now the Lines boat of Australian Craig Bailey managed a great third place behind the two South Africans. Keeping their positions, Lindenberg and Mather had the advantage of racing from the front, and Bailey had to fight from behind where there was lots of spray and other boats to contend with. But look how he accelerates and goes next to Ian Mather. If he was on the inside, he would have had a chance to go past. A bit further back, it was nice to see the familiar Team Protea Hotels boat of Carl Frankovich, who damaged his boat badly during a heat in the Cape Town harbour. Andre van Diemen kept his US robotics boat ahead of Australian Lights champion Robert Beasley, who had a bad start and had to fight his way all through the field. On lap 5, and Peter Lindenberg was still leading the race, but Craig Bailey in second position had his eyes set on Lindenberg and waited for the slightest mistake from the experienced driver. Bailey's Likes Lines Extreme boat is his own design and definitely did not come all the way to South Africa to settle for anything less than a victory. Russell Chard was leading the Lights class here ahead of Carl Frankovich. He was watching his rearview mirrors for his closest Lights opposition, that was Andre van Diemen. George Verscheer in the number 6 blue and white boat here in lap 7 had a good day's racing so far and kept his 5th position behind Tim Featherstone-Hoare and ahead of Lucky Hadebe as he sailed past Gerald Beach in boat number 25. But almost in carbon copy fashion after East London's race, Andre van Diemen once again loses the cowling of his boat, nearly causing disaster for Craig Bailey on his outside. This would be the end of a competitive race for van Diemen, as the aerodynamics of his boat was now severely hampered, and he'll also get a lot of water into the back of his boat. With the yellow flags out to warn the other drivers of the obstacle, everybody manages to get past it safely until the rescue craft can get a chance to remove it from the racing line. On lap 11 and still in 5th position, George Verscheer had his eyes set to get past boat number 3 under the colours of Mercus Cura, Tim Featherstone-Hoare, who was now just ahead of him. Boat number 105, Robert Beasley, the son of Ron Beasley, who was voted Rookie of the Year in Australia, was bringing up the back of the field and probably still getting used to the rough conditions. A safe option if one considers that there are still 2 other heats to go. Getting closer to the finish, Peter Lindenberg knew that he just has to hold on to the lead for another 2 laps, with Craig Bailey having to contend with some slower traffic that came between him and the race leader. This gave the boats behind Bailey, like Ian Mather in 3rd position and Featherstone-Hoare in 4th place, the chance to close the gap on the Australian champion. But can they get past him? The last corner for boat number 2, Peter Lindenberg, and into the home straight to take line honours for the first of the 3 15-lap heats of the day. Great news for the South African team, perhaps not what the Australian champion had in mind.
Craig Bailey, the Australian champion, your first race here in South Africa this weekend. How did it feel for you?
Not too bad. We got a good start there from the start, Doc. We started well down the pack and we were sort of second in the first lap, and basically it was a challenge then to try and pull back feet.
Did you think you could catch up to Peter Lindenberg, because he got off to a cracking start?
He did get a cracking start and he got a bit of a gap on me, but I did pull him right back in, and then I got stuck behind one of the back markers and got caught up with him, and he cost me a lot of time and Pete got away again, unfortunately.
The official results then for Heat 1. South Africa 1st, Australia 2nd, South Africa 3rd, Team KZN Oils 4th, with Team Mercus Cura giving a 6th position to English pilot Ken McCrory. In between all the excitement of the day, there was also a celebrity race that took place in the little water mouse boats. This gave some adults a small taste of how difficult it is to race around the tight course. But it was the juniors who made it look easy, and at the prize giving, where all the classes were honoured for their performances, the junior class B division was dominated by Team Soviet jeanswear driver Paige Lindenberg, whilst the A division belonged to Jean-Pierre de Witt of Team Trade Centre. The start of Heat 2, and again the National Ports Authority team of Lindenberg and Mather secured the first two places, passing the first turnbuoy. Disaster for Australian champion Craig Bailey, who could not get off the start line due to an electrical problem. Coming into the straight, it was Lindenberg, Mather, then Team Mercoscuro with pilot Tim Featherstone-Hoare in third position. A magnificent view of the course from the helicopter as the race moves through the first 6 laps with all boats keeping their same positions. But in lap 8, Lights driver Russell Chard could not fend off the onslaught of the stronger engine of Mark Evans, the runner-up in the Australian Championship, and had to watch as he goes past. Just ahead of them, Tim Featherstone-Hoare had his hands full to keep his third position with National Ports Authority boat number 10, Lucky Hadebe, putting in a strong challenge to get past Tim on the inside. Obviously getting used to the racing conditions and in a much better position than in the first heat was the Australian Lights pilot Robert Beasley, who sat just behind his South African opponent in the form of Russell Chard, who was in 6th position. With Tim Featherstone-Hoare in boat number 3 having moved to 4th position after being overtaken by Lucky Hadebe, he now had pressure from boat number 6, Mark Evans, for the 4th place as they go past newcomer Kerwin Rampona on the outside. But again, disaster for Team Reclam Hire Anything Russell Chard as he slows right down and gets out of the racing line with his boat. This is the 3rd race in a row and the 2nd time today that he's had to retire from the competition.
Maybe I hit something in the water or maybe just hooked it in the corner. I don't know. I came through the corner and it didn't corner properly, and when I looked in my mirror, there was a whole lot of spray coming out of the back sponsor.
Is there damage underneath as well?
Yes, there's a massive hole in it.
So it looks like you're going to be out of the racing for the rest of the afternoon.
It looks like it, yeah.
Mark Evans, all the way from Australia. You came here to prove a point. How does it feel driving somebody else's boat and not having your own boat here?
It's definitely a little bit different. It took me a while to get dialed into the boat, and the last sort of probably 8 laps I was starting to go really good and wind a few of the guys in, but it's definitely a bit different not driving your own boat.
Lucky Hadebe, you just had the race of your life. How does it feel to come 3rd?
It was excellent today. I couldn't believe myself if I come so far today.
A magnificent finish for Lucky Hadebe, giving 1st, 2nd and 3rd places to Team National Ports Authority, with some international pilots also getting themselves into the first 6 positions. The crowds were entertained by more excitement as the NSRI displayed just why they are regarded as one of the best rescue outfits in the world, providing peace of mind to all the pilots who took part in the International Grand Prix. The 3rd and final heat of the day got underway, and again it was Peter Lindenberg on the inside with Craig Bailey right on the outside. Bailey has to cut through a lot of traffic if he wants to get to the front of the race, and he runs very wide around the first turnbuoy. Out in front, down the straight, it was Lindenberg, Mather, Hadebe again in 3rd position, then George Fisher in boat number 6, followed by Australian champion Craig Bailey. In 7th position, Robert Beasley was just behind fellow Australian Craig Bailey in his Likes Lines boat. In lap 2, the battle for third position became fierce as George Fisher managed to get past Lucky Hadebe. But Lucky was not happy with this and did his best to try and get that third position back. But George was now following in the wake of Ian Mather and hoped to get himself higher up in the field. Gerald Beach in his number 25 boat has had a very good day so far without any incidents and seems to have chosen to conserve his boat and finish. A majestic sight of a large freighter gliding into the Durban harbour with a comparatively minute racing craft in the foreground, hoping that the swells from the ship won't affect them too much. Lucky Hadebe now has his hands full with Englishman Ken McCrory in boat number 3, who seems determined to get into 4th position behind George Fisher. On the inside, McCrory gets through. Now Hadebe has lost 2 positions since the start of the race. Can McCrory stay ahead of him? Oh, look at Hadebe. It looks like he has a problem with his steering. Look at Lucky Hadebe's steering cable. It's broken on the left side. This was obviously the reason that McCrory got away from him so easily. And in his wake now, another international driver, Craig Bailey. Can Lucky stay ahead of Bailey with the broken steering? Robert Beasley on the outside, leading the lights class, now just has to keep out of trouble to complete the last few laps. On the jetty, the National Ports Authority pit crews are very happy with their teams as Lindenberg moves into the last lap of the course. Also moving into the last lap is boat number 3 with pilot Ken McCrory, who won the Formula 3 World Championship in 1998, and he seemed to be flying around the course in 4th position. After starting his powerboat racing career in 1976, this pilot has a lot of racing experience that definitely showed during this Grand Prix. Also with a wealth of experience was Craig Bailey, but unfortunately for this Australian, the 2 days racing did not go his way. But it was hats off to South African champion Peter Lindenberg, who managed an immaculate record of victories over the 2 days. This secured him his 15th championship title and also victory for South Africa in this international Grand Prix. Craig Bailey had to settle for 6th position, not what he wanted, but a great sportsman and pilot nevertheless.
I think also it sends a loud message to other powerboating countries. South Africa won the Tri-Nations inflatable boat racing in New Zealand 4 weeks ago. We beat Australia and New Zealand. And I think that the international drivers who are here this weekend realize that with our development program, our junior racing and our Formula Ones, we're a force to be reckoned with, and they can't write us off.
The official results then for the 3rd heat with South Africa in the first 3 positions to win the heat. And in the overall results for the Grand Prix, South Africa with Peter Lindenberg in the lead and Mark Evans achieving 3rd position with co-driver George Fisher. A great event and definitely not the end of the rivalry between these 2 great sporting nations.
I'm going to pack my boat for Australia tomorrow and I'm going to go whip their asses in Perth in June.
Is this just in case they're under any illusion that they're better after today?
Yeah, no question. I had to wait and see, but now that the championship's over, NPA has said they're happy to let me take the boat out the country for that last race of the season because it makes no difference to us. We got it in the bag. And yeah, I'd like to beat them. I've beaten them here a couple of times, but this is only the 2nd time I think I've beaten them in their own equipment. And I'd love to go to Perth and beat all of them on their own waters with their own boats. So that's the next step, I guess.